Okay, so I've just done a quick test in Substance Painter and we're getting some artifacting going on down here, so I'm just going to double check the topology. Yeah, I'm going to go into the low poly and we'll jump over back down to the edit poly and let's have a look at these vertices. Just see if there's something going on, if we've got overlapping verts. So no, there's nothing going on there. I wonder why that's artifacting then. I think I'm going to have to reset the X forms because that's the only thing I can think that might be messing up and giving us the artifact in here. Which will mean I'm going to have to unwrap the controller, the low poly controller again. But that's fine. So again, reset X form, reset selected, jump back to the modifiers and we'll collapse to that. And then we can add the unwrap UVW. It seems to have remembered the unwrap. Just going to check around, make sure that everything's as I had it. No, that seems good. Okay, so let's jump out of that and we'll select everything. And we'll jump over here. Unwrap UVW and let's see if everything is as we left it. Everything is how we left it. Perfect. Now we have the unwrap on all that. I'm going to export selected. And now I've found the files where I've been saving them. I'll just save this back over the low poly. Yes, we want to overwrite. Settings are already good. And I'm going to jump over into Substance Painter now, just to test the model before I create the ID map. Right, and we want to bake the high poly onto it. We'll just tighten this cage around it. And there it is again. We're getting the artifacting, so maybe it's coming from the high poly. Yeah, if we use the low poly as the high poly mesh, that's not there. So let's see if we can jump over into 3ds Max and figure out what's going on there. Or if I reset the X forms on the high poly, maybe that's the issue that we're having. And we're still getting that artifacting. If I can break this center polygon, the center try into a poly, that might solve the problem. And this is the high poly, so I can get away with adding extra loops. So and now it's polygon on both sides. Does that fix the problem? Yes. That's more like it. Much better. no artifacts, no problems. Okay, so I'll jump on over into 3ds Max and we'll get the ID map set up for it. So, let's get this set up. Okay, so I ran into a little hiccup there where I wanted to render all of these separate low poly pieces as one ID map using a multi-sub object and the standard legacy colours inside that. And I'm certain there's a way of combining those into one map inside Max rather than using an external tool. While trying to troubleshoot that, I got the model stuck in wireframe. I'm not entirely sure what I hit, but I couldn't get it back out of it. So, we've reloaded an earlier save here. I'm going to try rebuild those ID maps again, but I'm going to wait and speak to my lecturer at this point, just to clarify if there is a way of doing it, the method that I want to do it. If not, then I suppose I'll produce an ID map and just combine it with an external combiner. Yeah, so I will get on with that next. Okay, so after a chat with my lecturer, I've been shown a better method of handling the ID maps. I'm going to go through each of the low poly assets and just set the IDs for them without using the multi-sub object. I'm then going to re-export the low poly model and we'll handle it inside Substance Painter. So I'll get on with setting those IDs now and I'll time-lapse the footage. Okay, so I'm going to export these over the low poly version of the model. So export selected. And now that we've found it, we want save back over the low poly there. Yep, we want to replace it. Yes, we want to keep all those settings, all that's being set up for us. So that should be the end of the stage in 3ds Max now. We should be able to move over to Substance Painter at this point, but we'll check that out just to make sure that those IDs have worked and that I can export the ID map for the asset. Yeah, we'll hop over to Substance Painter now. Okay, so now we're in Substance Painter. We're going to open a new file, and we want the low poly version of the model. We're using a 2K resolution because that's what the tutorial's using. Unreal Engine starter assets, and we want to be using OpenColor IO and ACES 1.2 so that we're in the Unreal Engine colour space. Hit OK and pull that in. And now that we've set the IDs, we can come into Bake, and we're just going to bake the ID map out. Has that worked for us? Is the question. So, back to painting. Can I just control drag one of these materials onto something here? Nope, we're all in the same colour. Then I need to mess with this a little bit more. And we're going to get the ID map. But we'll do it by mesh ID / polygroup, and yeah, hue shift should be fine. We'll just bake this out. And if we jump over in here now, we should be able to see, yeah. So it's separated most things out. We're going to have to hand select the space where the black sticker would be on here. And we're going to have to just assign this material to be the same base as this. But that's no problem. We can mask the top of this off quite easily. And I will look a little bit further into how to do these ID groups, because there's an easier way here somewhere, and it could really improve my workflow. So, let's go on with baking this properly now.
Let's go.